Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the final round of our Women in Leadership Collegiate Case Competition. This has been a very fun event that has been unfolding over the last day and a half. Some of you are coming into this for the first time, so just to kind of get you up to speed, we started with 11 teams. The competition started last night. Round one of the competition was a rapid fire Q&A session. Then we had all teams move into round two this morning, where they delivered a 20-minute prepared presentation. Bracket winners emerged, and so now we have a select number of teams that are represented here in the finals. We had an undergraduate track as well as a graduate track, and in the final session here, we will have 3 undergraduate teams and 2 graduate teams that will be presenting for their final placement and awards. And we will also recognize our bracket runner-up as well from each bracket. So that's where we are in the process. We really appreciate you engaging with us. And thanks to all of you who have been serving as judges at various points throughout the last couple days. We are going to begin our final round with Southern Utah University coming out of our undergraduate track. And as you'll see for each team that we bring on deck here, and you can go ahead and start coming out, we will go through the instruction process so that the students know how things will flow. It'll sound repetitive for you in the audience, but we want to keep the process consistent for all. So we are very excited to have Southern University represented in our finals. And students, you will now have 10 minutes to present. We have our timekeeper who's sitting here in the front row. And similar to our previous rounds, you will receive time warnings depending on where you are in the process. That will be a 3-minute, a 1-minute, and a 30-second warning, which will be displayed by color cards there. If you are still talking after that final warning, after the time has expired, we will interrupt you in the interest of time. Following your presentation, Dr. Krista Anderson, sitting here in the front row as well, will ask one question. You will then be able to huddle for 15 seconds to calibrate your answer, and then you will have 1 minute to respond. Do you have any questions about the process before we get started? Okay, so you have your presentation clicker, you have your mic, so just make sure those are turned on, and the floor is yours.
Okay, perfect. I am Rebecca Teeples.
And I'm Cashley Johnson.
And we are here today to talk to you about Fiscal and a funding solution that we have for them.
A little bit of what we're going to talk about today includes the founder and CEO, Dr. Krista Anderson, as well as a business model idea that we have and a market analysis that we conducted. And we'll finish up talking about our funding solutions that we propose. So a little bit about Dr. Anderson. We really enjoyed learning about her through this case study, and we found her to be very bold and driven, especially as she was entering this AI and technology field. And we also really admire her leadership skills, and we know that she's well educated in this area as well. We see that she encourages open communication as well as healthy and productive conflict within her teams. A little bit about some business model propositions that we also have. We did some research on different ideas that could work for Fixall, and this includes a subscription model, a license model, and a freemium model. We wanted to be sure to keep the vision of Fixall at the forefront of our mind as we kind of did this research, as well as the value propositions that are important to the company. Overall, we determined that the freemium business model would be the best choice in this scenario because it's already a fairly popular and widely used program for customers in this market. And we also found some specific advantages for Fixall using this business model, which include creating a lot of brand awareness as well as some potential customers within the market. And it also gives them an opportunity to make some revenue with advertisements within the freemium model. Some risks that are included with this business model have not getting free users turned into paying customers could be a pretty big risk in this case. And another risk includes losing unsatisfied users who don't want to pay that premium price for all the bells and whistles, but are unsatisfied with the free version of the model. So we suggest that while Fixall is in this testing phase, they continue to research and tailor to their target market in order to better serve their customers that they're reaching in this market. A little bit of a market analysis that we conducted within the technology industry, particularly in the AI market. We determined that the threat of substitutes as well as the competition in this market would be fairly moderate because there are other AI and software programs that can do similar things. However, it's just not quite as convenient as Fixall's services are. We determined the barriers to entry of this market to be fairly low because there are fairly low regulations in this industry currently, as well as fairly low startup costs comparatively. And we determined the power of customers to be moderate because, once again, they can use other AI models. They just aren't quite as sufficient at deeming biases and tone, et cetera, that Fixall does especially. And power of suppliers we also deemed to be low because if Fixall continued to use these third-party AI to help them with their company, they could choose different suppliers for those AI models because they are in the market. A little bit about women in technology. We know that this is a fast cycle market and there are lots of adaptability that needs to be done. We also found that it is heavily filled with men and companies run by men. Some specific statistics that we wanted to share include gender in the STEM field shows as 65% men and 35% women, so it's fairly unbalanced even today. We also found that 57% of women in the technology, media, and telecom industry plan to leave their job within 2 years, and that's due to work-life balance problems. We also know that women value these flexible schedules more than men do, and they're just not currently available in this market. And the last piece of evidence that we wanted to share is the Pew Research Center's information about gender disparity, and they found that 50% of women in the workplace are suffering from gender discrimination, and 36% of women are suffering from sexual harassment within the workplace.
So based on our business model and our market analysis, we came up with a couple of solutions for funding. And we addressed the barriers and strategies, cost analysis, and funding options for Fixall. So some of the barriers that Fixall is facing is a lack of reported revenue just because they're still in the testing phase. They have no cash flows coming in, which means it's hard to value the company without those cash flows. So traditional funding like IPOs and venture capitalists, she would be undervalued if she were to do that. Because it's a new technology, there are not a lot of other AI-specific companies, and it makes it difficult to value comparables with that. And then there is still unconscious bias and a very competitive funding market that she is facing whenever it comes to funding. So some strategies that Fixall can use in order to fund is to continue to bootstrap the business. We don't know how viable this is just because of how expensive beta testing can be and that there are other ways for her to receive funding. And then venture capitalist funding is a way that she could receive funding very quickly and a lot easier than other routes, but she'd have to give up equity within her company and she'd have to give up control of where she wants her company to go because she'd have to listen more to the investors and the shareholders, and that could change what her company would be. And as we've seen throughout the case and just with her character, she's been very patient and persistent with making sure that this company stays the way that the company was within her vision. And then another option would be private loans, and this would be more expensive and she would most likely not get it because private banks have been moving away from small business loans due to the failure rate of small businesses within the first year, 5 years, and 10 years being lower and lower. And then the government grants, we believe, would be the best option for her due to some qualifications that the company has within it, and it would be able to help her maintain control of the company. And so we did a very rough estimate of how much we think the beta testing would start out with the prices going up as she expanded out the testing, but we did 1 to 400 testers. And we ended up with a low estimate of $204,000 and a high estimate of $244,000 based on our numbers. And this is with her hiring 2 new employees on the average salary for software developers here in Utah County, and then incentives and marketing average. And so we came up with what's called a 7A loan. This is a government loan that's specifically set aside for companies that are in fields that face disadvantages, and this is one of those fields of women being within tech, and it has a $5 million max that would give her more room to grow her company just beyond what our predictions were for the beta testing, and be able to not have to worry about funding as much as she is now, and be able to really focus on her product and be able to get it out as a solution for people. And this would help her maintain control of her company and really make sure that she sticks with the vision of her company. And some disadvantages with this loan: it is quite competitive, but because she is in such a niche market for technology, she would be very competitive within this and most likely be able to qualify. She may have to provide some equity because she doesn't have cash flows coming in. She would have to put up some skin in the game to make sure that she's able to pay back this loan in the long run, and it will cost more because of the interest that it will incur. But we believe that the trade-off that she will have with paying interest over having to have investors possibly change her company or have to give them back money. And so these are some of the grants that she would be able to qualify for. These are 3 specific ones that are women-owned businesses specifically. And the government is working towards setting aside 5% of all contracting dollars towards women-run businesses, and this would be the best time for women-owned business to be able to apply for it. And then these are the requirements for those grants. And you need to be a small business. It needs to be owned by a woman, at least 51%. And a woman needs to manage the day-to-day and the long-term operations of the company. And the identifier for the NCAI is 541715. And this is research in the development in physical engineering and sciences, which is a very, very small market nowadays, and especially for women within this market. And because her net worth is under $750,000, she'd be able to qualify. And because Dr. Anderson does run the business, it qualifies her. And then if she were to move her headquarters from Lehigh area to the southern Provo area, she'd be able to qualify for what's called the hub zone to help underutilized and underfunded areas within the country receive funding.
So just a little bit of a summary. We've talked about Dr. Anderson, the CEO and founder of Fixall, and we talked about the freemium business model that we propose Fixall should use, as well as our results for our market analysis and especially women in technology. And we finished up by talking about our 7A loan as well as government grants for our funding solution proposition. Just a quick look at our team. Again, I'm Cashley Johnson.
I'm Becca Teeples.
And our alternate Heather Durfee helped us out a lot with this project as well. And then just a quick look at our sources that we used for this.
Thank you so much for your time. What question do you have for us?
Thank you. Incredible. Congratulations, ladies, for being in the finals. The question is, what is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
We believe that leadership within finding funding for a business is very difficult because it takes persistence, it takes patience, and it takes a will and determination to stick with what you believe in. A lot of the times women are forced to change because we don't fit the mold of the traditional business model. But if we are to stick to what we believe in, we are able to achieve so much more than what we believe we can do and what the world thinks that we can do. And so being that persistent and that determined leader within any business that we're in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll now take just a brief break to allow the judges some time to take notes on their scorecards, and then we will introduce our next team. Okay, thank you so much. And now we are ready to introduce our next team. Coming out of our Joan of Arc bracket, we have East Tennessee State University.
Thank you.
Okay, so as students, you will have 10 minutes to present. Our timekeeper will provide a 3-minute, a 1-minute, and 30-second warning displayed by the color cards, and our timekeeper is here in the front row. If you are still talking after the time has expired, we will interrupt you in the interest of time. Following the presentation, Dr. Krista Anderson, also here in the front row, will ask one question. You will then be permitted to huddle for 15 seconds to calibrate your answer, and then you will have 1 minute to respond. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No. Hi, everyone. We're the East Tennessee State University undergraduate team, and we just want to thank you so much for this opportunity, and we'll get started.
My name is Sydney Ice.
And I'm Lexi Vance, and for today, we are entrepreneurial success consultants.
FixAll has the potential to disrupt and revolutionize the world of digital communication while encouraging empathy and inclusivity.
We really think that the value of FixAll could be used to be a risk management resource, especially in corporations, as we see how prevalent cancel culture is in today's society. Especially, we see a lot of people ruining their reputations professionally, corporations being boycotted, things like that, and we think that that is the market fit for FixAll. And the SaaS business model, first off, the SaaS sector of the technological industry is extremely competitive. It has a 90% failure rate. But you can really study it by looking at key players such as SAP, Oracle, and Adobe. Their monetization strategy changes from company to company, but it typically consists of one of the three: subscription, flat fee, or sliding scale pricing that varies from organization to organization. Here we can take a deeper look at the entrepreneurial landscape of Utah. So you're going to see that only 16 out of every 100 16 out of every 100 business owners in the state of Utah are women. This leaves Utah ranking 45th in the nation.
Stats that further illustrate this: there are only 12% of decision makers at venture capital firms are women. Have you guys ever heard of the term birds together flock together? Homophilia affects venture capital circles in the same way it affects the rest of society, as only 4% of business loans are received by women, and only 2.1% of venture-backed capital is invested in female-owned companies.
I'd like for everyone to take a second and imagine a world where gender norms are switched. And in this world, venture capital is dominated by women. And now imagine a man in a room full of women pitching the world's first beard balm. The men's beard grooming industry is $25 billion. Crazy to women. Had that first pitch gone to women, how do we think that the men's beard grooming industry would have scaled? Probably not the same as it is in today's society. I say this to illustrate that diversity is needed in venture capital firms because there is no doubt in my mind that many people are pitching fantastic ideas to roomfuls of people who cannot relate to the product or see value in it. Why are female entrepreneurs falling behind? One key reason is funding. 29% of women polled said that they didn't believe that they would ever have equal access to capital. 53% of female business owners reported having unmet financial needs.
One of the largest factors for any entrepreneur is having an inexperienced sounding board, and almost half of all female entrepreneurs lacked competent advisors. The University of Chicago performed a study which showed significant evidence that female-to-female mentorship produced highly successful outputs. Harvard Law further backed this research by showing studies that with venture capital firms, the 10% more women receive a 1.5 higher fund return and a 9.7% more profitable exit.
So we've identified some conflicts, and we want to provide some solutions for those. So for the entrepreneurial landscape, Utah is ranked 45th, not great, but not an insurmountable barrier. We think that by leveraging strong networking, that Dr. Anderson can find sustainable opportunity in Utah so that she doesn't have to move her company to a different state. Secondly, the SaaS industry has 90% of startups fail, and 42% of this is due to lack of need in the marketplace.
We propose the solution to this as the selling point for FixAll to be a risk management investment for corporations, and we also want to recommend a heavy marketing campaign backed by research to demonstrate this as well. One of the most long-standing conflicts Dr. Anderson will have to overcome with FixAll is venture funding discrepancies, as women generally receive only a fourth of the capital they seek, while men receive over half. While there's no true solution to this right now, venture capital landscape isn't going to change overnight. There are plenty of resources available for Anderson to take advantage of and level the playing field.
Anderson's leadership profile. So despite my outfit, Steve Jobs is a great inspiration. So we really looked at tech leadership, and we realized that these tech companies that are extremely successful, have unimaginable margins, they all have strong leadership, and people associate those tech companies with their leadership. When you think of Apple, you think of Steve Jobs. That's just how it is. And in identifying Dr. Anderson's leadership roles, we pulled stuff from podcasts that she was in, her LinkedIn articles, and other interpersonal conflicts that she had faced. And after doing this, we put all of her leadership stuff and made our solutions, which we will show later, compatible with her leadership profile. Not everything is compatible for every entrepreneur. So me and Sydney have never sought venture funding. So we thought that the best way to really figure out what the best plan was to find someone who shared a similar story. So we started utilizing entrepreneurial centers and incubators to try and find a match. And we found our match in Personality Pool founder Lauren Glass. We're going to talk about some similarities next.
So after researching both Dr. Anderson and Lauren Glass, we found numerous similarities, starting with but not limited to, both ventures are founded by female entrepreneurs utilizing AI. Both women both recently bought out their co-founder and experienced a change in business plan. Both have bootstrapped beginnings and faced a funding dilemma, and both ventures focus on fostering connections.
So Glass is the founder of Personality Pool, which is a startup that takes job seekers and connects them to careers based on personality rather than resume. Something sounds familiar here, and it's fostering connection. There's something else that is similar with Lauren and Dr. Anderson, and that is that they both are very passionate about their ventures, and they want to make sure that they are maintaining control authority over their companies. So Lauren had a funding dilemma, and she said, I really need money. I want to be very careful about how I set this up. She met with lawyers, and she ended up closing on $300,000 of investment and trading 5% total equity for it. Lauren is very happy with this, and she had an extensive vetting process for her investors. So available resources, we really want to focus on pitch competitions because Lauren Glass identified this as key to her entrepreneurial development, and bootstrapping.
Bootstrapping is almost a necessity for any startup, and the Offman Foundation surveyed 350 female tech startup leaders and found that 80% of them use their own personal savings to fund their startup. Bootstrapping also often can cut costs and focus on prioritizing business operations.
So we also believe that Fixall's mission is compatible with grants. And here are a lot of options, but I really want to focus on STTR and SBIR grants. Yes, they are competitive, yes, they are hard to get, and yes, they are hard to track, but this is not about what's hard, it's about what works. So the Small Business Technology Transfer and Small Business Innovative Research are known as America's Seed Fund, and they focus on stimulating technological innovation. We think that this is a great fund to fund a research program to establish market need.
After evaluating the female landscape for business entrepreneurs and Dr. Anderson's leadership characteristics and available resources, we've compiled a tailored plan for Fixall to obtain strategy. And this is not a one-size-fits-all strategy for any startup. The U.S. Department of Labor stated that 18% of all startups fail in their first year of operations, increasing 65% after 10 years due to inadequate funding. And while Fixall is still pre-revenue, we believe that the best strategy for this company is a combination of venture-backed funding, grant dollars, and continued bootstrapping to fill in the rest of the gaps.
So with our suggestions, we want to focus on there is not one thing that is going to fix this problem. It needs to be a combination of all resources combined. That is how we overcome barriers. So it's really easy for us to say, Fixall needs to look for investment right now, as early as they can, but we disagree with that. We think that Fixall should continue bootstrapping through their alpha phase, use the data that they get on their cost projections, put that into their financial portfolio to talk to investors, because what is the point of burning bridges if you're unprepared with investors that you can later utilize when you are prepared? So you can see how we propose funds be used after the alpha phase, and that is grant money first, because that's going to save equity. Investment dollars next, because that's going to save bootstrapping funds, and bootstrapping to fill in these gaps so that we still have a swift timeline. And that is our presentation. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, and congratulations. That was awesome. Okay, here's the question. What is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
This is a great question. So when we were looking at what we wanted to propose to you and in our suggestions, we actually started eliminating things. And we still put them in this PowerPoint because we wanted to give you the option to see for yourself. Because we think every entrepreneurial journey should be a personal journey in how they decide to fund things. But we can see that you are very courageous, you love people, and we really wanted to eliminate the family and friends round because we didn't think that you would want to have family and friends invested in your company like that because it can be tough for interpersonal relationships. There were some other things as far as like government funding and stuff that we thought may not be applicable just because of the timeline. It seemed like it was really timely. So we did take it into account when deciding our solutions. Thank you so much.
And again, we'll give the judges some time to fill out their scorecards. Thank you for your patience. Okay, and we will now advance to the last team in our undergraduate finals here. And this will be Middle Tennessee State University. So welcome to this stage, ladies. So while you distribute some materials, I will go ahead and inform you of the process here. You will have 10 minutes to present. Our timekeeper will provide a 3-minute, 1-minute, and 30-second warning displayed by color cards, and our timekeeper is right here in the front row. If you're still talking after the time has expired, we will interrupt you in the interest of time. And following the presentation, Dr. Krista Anderson, also here in the front row, will ask one question. You will then have 15 seconds to huddle to calibrate your answer, and then you will have 1 minute to deliver that. Do you have any questions before we get started?
I don't think so.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Emily Connors.
And my name is Lily Beth Woods, and we are students at Middle Tennessee State University, and we are pleased to present our Fix-All funding solution to the UVU Women in Business Impact Lab.
Before we dive into our funding solution, we would like to recognize a few key takeaways from analyzing the case. First, we know that Dr. Anderson is a humanitarian. She understands that words carry weight, both intentional and unintentional consequences. That's why it is vital that society is educated on the importance of healthy communication and conflict resolution. Because of this, we decided to take a slightly different approach to our solution. We propose that Fix-All delay seeking formal funding and reclassify as a benefit corporation. This will allow Fix-All to rely on both grants and donations for funding, as well as preserving Dr. Anderson's equity retention over Fix-All. This will also allow her to retain quality talent by partnering with Utah Valley University on an internship program. So, why a benefit corporation? We investigated several different routes for reclassification to increase funding, including nonprofits and low profits. However, we landed on a benefit corporation because B Corps are defined as for-profit entities that prioritize their positive impact on society. With a B Corp, this will allow Dr. Anderson to retain 100% equity and control over the future of Fix-All, as well as allowing her access to a wider pool of grants. The best part, she will also be able to receive charitable donations that are tax deductible for those individuals. Lastly, this will help her to hire and retain talented people who exhibit the same morals and values that Fix-All holds close. Now, Dr. Anderson embodies women empowerment. This is how we are going to attain grant funding. We are going to search after different grants that support women in tech, grants that support startups led by women, as well as a variety of foundations in Utah that support women in leadership positions. Now, we know that with Dr. Anderson's experience, education, and powerful ability to tell her story, we can obtain successful grant rates. So, how are we going to make up for the rest of that funding? Through donors. This will allow Dr. Anderson to connect with individuals, organizations, and foundations to help support both her and Fixall towards a successful product launch. Now, in 2022, Americans gave almost $500 billion to charity. Let me repeat that, almost $500 billion. That is a ton of money. This presents Fixall with a wonderful opportunity. Not only this, but also more than 1 in every 2 donors are involved in a recurring giving program. That's 57%.
Let's talk equity retention. Utilizing grant and donor funding will allow Dr. Anderson to retain 100% owner's equity. This leads to key advantages. The first one being control. The vision of Fixall to better communicate and improve mental health among individuals globally is of the utmost priority. With 100% equity, Dr. Anderson has complete control over this initiative. The second advantage is earnings. An average nonprofit CEO makes between $400,000 and $1 million annually. However, as a benefit corporation, which is for profit, Dr. Anderson could expect a considerable higher earning. The next advantage is the individuals who invest in the company. These individuals are not investing into capital and owner's equity. They are investing because they truly believe in the cause that is Fixall. Talent acquisition will be implemented through the utilization of volunteers and interns. Every year, 63 million Americans volunteer. This will allow Dr. Anderson to have a plethora of willing and driven individuals who are ready to volunteer to the Fixall cause. Additionally, these volunteers will possess qualities that Dr. Anderson embodies, including inclusivity, forward thinking, and a strong work ethic. Then, the intern program. These interns will be recruited through Utah Valley University, where Dr. Anderson got her roots. Then these interns will assist in the application and grant process and community outreach and organization support in getting donor funding. Utilizing these solutions, the process will be implemented in 3 key ways. First, a campaign. The campaign will promote Fixall's outreach and foster community support. Then, licensing agreements. Fixall as a service will be partnered with large organizations to gain access to the widest possible audience as possible. Then, the financials. We have analyzed the financials associated with the solutions and implementations and ensured the vitality of Fixall until its product launch.
Our proposed event kickoff on Utah Valley University's campus is vital to the success of Fixall. With this event, we propose 3 benefits as an outcome. The first being community involvement. This will allow individuals in the community to come and learn about the mission of Fixall and why it is so important to promote healthy communication. Secondly, this gives Dr. Anderson the outlet to tell her story. Again, allowing individuals to hear firsthand about the experiences and challenges that she's gone through that have molded her passion for this cause. Lastly, brand awareness. We can have Fixall's logo on Utah Valley University's campus, which will give exposure to students on campus to the brand and allow them to get involved in the internship program. Lastly, we propose that this kickoff event is in collaboration with Utah's Small Business Development Center, allowing Dr. Anderson to network and connect with individuals in the community that are also small business owners, fueling her and Fixall towards a successful product launch. Now, you can refer to the handouts we gave you earlier on, and on the left side, you will see our company slogan: communication with a cause, notifications take pause, answer the call, give to Fixall. On the right side, you will see our proposed company logo to support marketing promotions. Back up at the presentation on the right side, we've provided a demonstrated Instagram post to promote our kickoff event on UVU's campus.
The second step of the implementation process is to attract partners through licensing agreements. Step 1, complete product testing and develop a product pitch. Step 2 is to begin conversations with these potential licensees. Step 3 is to ensure that all negotiations abide by corporate and legal policies, but most importantly, ensure that these corporations are embodying the values of Fixall. Now, I have a financial forecast, and I will briefly go over, for the sake of time, the financials that we have considered with the solutions and implementations. Our revenues will be from the grants and donations, as well as the royalties from licensing fees. Every company will be negotiated at an estimated flat rate of $650,000 per year. Then moving on to our research and development, this is accounting for the beta testing, our income tax expense, and then charitable contributions will begin in year 2, and it will account for 10% of total revenues. And then I'm not going to read this income statement that was prepared over the 3 years. However, I do want to point out 2 important factors. The first is the royalties from licensing agreements. We do not anticipate that these agreements will be solidified by year 1. However, in year 2 and year 3, you can see that about 2 to 3 companies to up to 5 companies will return a handsome amount. As a result of these statistics, the net income is a loss in year 1. However, in year 2 and year 3, the growth is considerable.
Our implementation timeline spans over 3 years, with the ultimate goal to obtain widespread adoption of Fix-All services. I'm going to highlight a few key points, beginning with reclassifying as a benefit corporation. This will allow Fix-All to begin their partnership with UVU and begin applying for grants and funding. Then the awareness campaign will begin. The kickoff event is planned to take place in late June of this year. Then beta testing can begin, as well as adding data scientists and analysts to the team. Our ultimate goal here is to license Fix-All services to large communication companies such as Grammarly, Microsoft, and Apple. The reason for this, we want access to the widest audience possible so that society can benefit from improving their communication style as well as their conflict resolution. For a quick overview of our funding solution, we recommend Fix-All reclassify as a benefit corporation, leading Dr. Anderson to preserve 100% owner's equity over the organization, as well as allowing her to attract and to retain talent through the partnership with UVU.
As far as the implementation process goes, the community outreach program will embrace the Fix-All brands, the licensing agreements will attract a wide pool of audience to Fix-All's name, and the financials ensures the vitality of the projects utilizing the implementations and solutions.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we'd love to hear any questions.
Thank you both, and congratulations. Here's the question. What is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
I would say staying true to yourself and your morals, right? And so there's lots of possible ways that you could try to attain funding, from going to angel investors and potentially giving up equity in the organization, but understanding that as a woman in this space, it's vital to take full ownership over your ideas and your impact on society. And so making that number one and not willing to sacrifice those morals and goals for yourself.
I would also like to add, I think it's important that while this is a woman in tech and this is an underrepresented sector that women reside in, it's not that this is a woman in tech product. It is, she happens to be a woman, but she's embracing that. It shouldn't be, oh, you're different because you're a woman. Rather, this is something that women can do, and nothing stops them from doing it in any sector, not only tech, but everything that the world resides in, because women are powerful.
Thank you. Congratulations. And now we'll allow the judges some time to fill out their scorecards. Okay, and we are now ready for our next team. So for the judges and the audience, we are now transitioning from our undergraduate teams to our graduate teams. And we will now begin our final session for the graduate track with Illinois State University. Students, you will have 10 minutes to present. Our timekeeper will provide you with a 3-minute, 1 minute, and 30-second warning as displayed by color cards. Our timekeeper is right here in the front row. If you're still talking after the time has expired, we will interrupt you in the interest of time. And following your presentation, Dr. Krista Anderson, also in the front row here, will ask you one question. You will then have 15 seconds that you can huddle to calibrate your answer, and then you will have 1 minute to deliver that. Do you have any questions before we get started? Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we share our proposal for Fix All, inspired by the poem, How Many, How Much. Reggie Consulting's development to these recommendations paralleled Shel Silverstein's poem, emphasizing the quantification of intangible elements to formulate a solution to create and retain value for Fix All. My name is Jessica Laughlin, and I'm joined here with my partner, Gracie O'Brien, and we wanted to just give you a brief glimpse into what we're going to be talking about today.
Fix All is a subscription-based model that deals both with retail and corporate clients. However, their current issue right now is figuring out a funding plan that is strategic and advantageous for the development of the product.
Moving on to Fix All's funding options, there are angel investors and bootstrapping. Bootstrapping the business may be more obtainable by means of having to prepare less presentations and materials when you ask family and friends for contributions. However, beta testing requires an extensive amount of funding, and we do not believe that bootstrapping this is the most obtainable option, as it has a total transaction cost of 2 cents per character per word. Similarly, Dr. Anderson desires to keep high levels of ownership equity, which bootstrapping, she may not be able to do this either because she will have to hire on adequate personnel with market compensation in the form of giving away equity. On the other hand, angel investing, she also may have to forego that ownership equity that she desires to keep in exchange for the capital investment necessary to fundraise for beta testing. Our goal as a group was to make sure that Fix All can maintain in good financial standing, hire adequate personnel at market compensation, and most importantly, have a high quality product ready for market sooner. We're going to talk about some of the funding issues and hurdles that Fix All must overcome. The first, and what we believe to be the steepest hurdle for Fix All, is the fact that ventures solely founded by women only account for 2% of the total capital raised in the most recent fiscal year. Additionally, another prevalent hurdle is that Fix All has competitors, such as Grammarly and Microsoft Copilot, who also operate using OpenAI as their respective large language model. And finally, we've seen a trend in recent years that it has become increasingly difficult to maintain the high level of ownership equity because investors are demanding more equity in the business for less capital investment.
Much like how many, how much, the outcome really depends on some things that you can change. Here, angel investors will use this scorecard valuation to value companies with no revenues. What we're going to talk about here is 4 categories: the team, the product technology, the sales marketing, and other. These are the categories that we believe can be increased and or are significant to Fix All's model. First is the team. Dr. Anderson is a transformational leader, and she is strong and has had business experience before. However, because she does not have experience in the technology industry, we ranked her on average with groups in our sample. Next, we have the product and technology. We love Fix All's product and believe that it can be used in a variety of ways. It adds value to an industry, and it really runs on a differentiation strategy. However, if it is using AI without a patent, it is easily duplicated, meaning somebody can hear this great product and go, okay, we're gonna add that to ours immediately. So if they can obtain a patent, we believe that would increase significantly the value of Fix All. Finally, we have the sales marketing. Dr. Anderson has a great presence on LinkedIn. However, Fix All's page is blank. If you look it up, there are no posts. So we believe that this is one of the weakest categories for Fix All. Furthermore, there isn't an established sales channel. Other companies in our sample had beta testers and reviews that they could post online, whereas Fix All was unable to do so.
And finally, we're going to talk about the other category, which consists of factors tailored specifically to Fix All's unique proposition. Fix All's exit potential is currently low. However, if Fix All is able to secure that patent, this criteria will increase significantly. Fix All is entering the market at a perfect time as social awareness expectations and cancel culture increases rapidly. Through these examples provided, you can see that these are instances where Fix All could have effectively mitigated instances of offensive language use, while also offered an educational opportunity to the individuals and companies that use them. At the top, you can see Whoopi Goldberg is being criticized for her insensitive language use, which before this case, Gracie and I were unaware of the word's origin. We think that this truly showcases the impact that Fix All had on us during this case, and it can translate into the society. Finally, in this criteria, We have previously established that being a man leader for a company is a benefit for them for acquiring investor funding, which is why we had to lower this score a little bit. Now, I know you guys have already seen this slide. However, we believe that there is a third option we have yet to address, an option that gives you the best of both worlds. We believe that Fix-All in its current state is the perfect candidate for an accelerator program. An accelerator program would require Fix-All to forego a low amount of equity with a large amount of benefits in exchange.
Through an accelerator program, Dr. Anderson would have the mentorship in the technology field that she's currently missing and would be able to implement our SAFE plan in order for Fix-All to create a safe place for people to communicate their words, thoughts, and emotion. SAFE stands for Stand Out, Align, Find, and Expand. It all starts with standing out. As Jess mentioned, there are competitors such as Grammarly and Copilot. However, where they're really lacking is addressing the biases in OpenAI. Some of our research from Kochenko and Mohammed show that tone analysis is inherently biased. If Fix-All is able to change their large language model to really remove some of these biases and then patent that, they have an idea that angel investors would be jumping at to invest in. Furthermore, we believe they should capitalize on their education. Grammarly might just tell you to change a word, but they don't tell you why you shouldn't use that word and why it's harmful.
Moving on, the A in SAFE stands for Align. Mission statements are an essential piece to brand marketing, and additionally, they're oftentimes a topic of conversation amongst angel investors as they search for companies that align with their personal beliefs, which is why we think that Fix-All should broaden its mission statement to ensure that it can resonate with the maximum amount of angel investors. Our proposal is to change it to empower individuals and organizations to communicate effectively and authentically. We believe that this truly showcases the impact Fix-All can have and will resonate with as many angel investors as possible.
The F in SAFE stands for Finding the Right Fund. One of the hurdles we mentioned was male venture capitalists not being able to relate to female founders, and we can eliminate this hurdle by going to female funds. Here on the board, we have 3 that we think Fix-All would be perfect candidates for. First is the Artemis Fund. It is a Utah-based female fund that is committed to multiple rounds of funding if Dr. Anderson and Fix-All need more funding. Next is the Female Founders Fund. They invest solely in women and have invested $3 billion since 2014. Last, this is the one we feel is perfect for Fix-All. The Graham and Walker Group invests solely in technology. They're made out of 2/3 women investors, and the products that they focus on are products that better the way that people live, work, and coexist. We think that this mission really aligns perfectly with Fix-All's mission to create a better environment.
And moving on, finally, we want Fix-All to expand. Gracie touched on earlier that CEO Dr. Krista Anderson is extremely active on LinkedIn, but Fix-All's page is blank. We simply think that an option that would be for free for Fix-All is to start interacting with her posts and other local startups to gain traction to that page. By doing this, they'll increase their brand awareness for free. Additionally, we believe that an interactive website will be invaluable to potential customers. By having an in-depth and hands-on tutorial on the functionality of Fix-All, customers will be able to see its capabilities and value proposition. Finally, primarily Fix-All has been using family and friends as its beta testers, which is why we believe that Fix-All needs to secure a large-scale, credible group of beta testers made up of universities and corporations. We want Fix-All to get bills of intent from these universities and corporations. We know that environmental social governance initiatives have increased in corporations, and we think Fix-All is the answer to that. Additionally, universities' business ethic writing will not go away. This is a tool that they can teach their students to utilize, and it will really maximize Fix-All's profits.
You can see through changing these categories that Fix-All's valuation goes to be 7.5% above the sample average, which we believe will give Fix-All the funding needed.
We want to reiterate that Fix-All should implement our SAFE plan recommendation while simultaneously going through an accelerator program. This will ensure that Fix-All can create and retain value to obtain angel investors while safeguarding communication. Words matter. This product will fix all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay, here's your question. What is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
We really think character is a big part of getting funding. If you can shine through to angel investors and show your drive and your passion towards Fixall and really show your humility and how you connect to people, we think that that will eliminate a great barrier. Like we said, male venture capitalists often can't connect with female founders. And we think by showing your character and what a great person you are and your leadership strengths, that male venture capitalists will be more likely to listen to your product, would be more interested in investing in it, and we really think that that could eliminate some of the barriers that female CEOs have. Since they're more likely to be meek and to listen and use qualifying words such as almost or I believe so. If you show your drive and your knowledge, we believe that female investors will get more money and will be more confident, and therefore male venture capitalists will listen and want to invest.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now ready to proceed with our last team that will be presenting in this final session, as well as the last team in our graduate track. So I'm delighted to bring out Brigham Young University's graduate team. Okay, students, so you have 10 minutes to present. Our timekeeper will provide you with a 3-minute, 1-minute, and 30-second warning as displayed by colored cards. The timekeeper is right here in the front row. If you're still talking after time has expired, we will interrupt you in the interest of time. And following your presentation, Dr. Krista Anderson, also in the front row here, she will ask you one question. You then have 15 seconds that you can huddle together to calibrate your answer and then deliver your answer to the judges in 1 minute. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Bula Binaka, my name is Savaira Vicoso.
Mabuhay, I am Eunice Gomez.
And we are local international graduate students. How many of you have sent an email when you were angry? Did you regret that? Yes. Now, what if I told you there was an app that could help you edit the content of that email so that it's not so aggressive? And it would show you how aggressive your email is.
Introducing Fixall. Founded by Dr. Krista Anderson, Fixall is more than just an application. It is both an application and a software that uses artificial intelligence to provide real-time guidance to businesses that refines communication, ensures clarity, promotes respect, and upholds brands' values.
Now today we're going to tackle a pivotal challenge for Fixall. As Dr. Anderson prepares for product launch, she has to decide whether to bootstrap her way to product launch or seek external funding.
Our analysis leads us to one solution, and that is to seek external funding from external sources.
Fixall belongs to the software industry, primarily the productivity software or the software as a service sector. Okay? With its low barriers to entry, high competition, this presents a fertile yet challenging ground for innovation. Although companies like Microsoft and IBM dominate, there's 72% of the market still that remains fragmented. This is significant for Fixall to take advantage of. And quick scaling through external funding will allow Fixall to scale up, stand out, and grow quickly in the fragmented market.
We also looked at the funding landscape in creating our solution. In the past 4 years, although there was a 20% drop in global funding, the seed stage, where Fixall belongs to right now, is seen to be the most robust out of all the funding stages. In addition, while most industries are down in funding year over year, AI has received the largest funding of 9% from $45 billion to $50 billion in 2023. And we see that as a great opportunity for Fixel to capture if Dr. Anderson chooses to seek funding from external sources.
Now, the case presents us with two options, as mentioned before: bootstrapping to maintain control over strategic decisions, external funding for rapid scaling. But as critical thinkers, we also need to think of a third option, which is the status quo. What happens if we do nothing? We can conduct further market research to improve and strengthen her product.
And based on our analysis, we decided to seek funding from external sources. We looked at different sources of external funding that can be available to Dr. Anderson, and using three key criteria: timeline, which is how quickly she can get the funding; control, which is if she will share control over critical decisions; and typical size, or what is the average amount that she can receive from each of those funding sources. We, after careful comparison of all the sources and using these three key criteria, we decided that the best options for Dr. Anderson are angel investor and crowdfunding.
Now let's explore reasons why we believe that Fixel will thrive in the angel investing industry. We've divided them into two options: founder expertise and experience, and revenue growth potential. Krista is not new to the angel investing firm. In fact, that's why she joined an angel investor group, is to learn the fundraising process and expand her network. We believe this is her strategic advantage to tailor her pitch to fit the concerns of the investors. We also believe that drawing from her experience in life, she has the qualities that angel investors are looking for, like resilience, grit, determination, and domain expertise.
Next, we also looked at the revenue growth potential of Fixel. We did a market sizing analysis using census data from the US Department of Labor, and based on our analysis, Fixel has a lot of revenue growth potential. So when doing our market sizing, we first started to get what is the service obtainable market for Fixel, and then we scaled that up to get the service available market, and ultimately to get the total addressable market. Our serviceable obtainable market, or SOM, consists of potential users in the industries of finance, legal services, and education sectors that with businesses that have less than 500 employees. And in our research, that is a total of 9.4 million users. Our decision to focus on small and medium-sized businesses, is due to the recent enterprise software trends that developers are focusing now from large corporations to small and medium-sized corporations, because large corporations, their software needs, almost all of their software needs have already been met, and there's a high churn rate for small and medium-sized corporations that Fixel can, that's an opportunity that Fixel can capture. Engaging what is the monthly market pricing for a subscription for Fixel, we released a survey in our social media accounts such as LinkedIn and got a weighted average of that, and also incorporated the current pricing of its competitor, which is Grammarly. We got an average of both to come up with a monthly average price of $7.99. We then multiplied what we came up with the average price to the target SOM users to get a revenue of $75 million.
To implement our recommendation, we advised that Dr. Anderson begin fundraising using crowdfunding and angel investing phase through the alpha testing phase. We estimate a total of $180,000 to be collected, $30,000 from crowdfunding, and $150,000 from angel investing. This money will be used to pay for beta testing and team expansion. It's also wise for Dr. Anderson to apply for government grants as in the early phase, because they can be quite lengthy. to receive. The time to apply for them can be quite lengthy, and the time to receive it can be quite lengthy as well.
Okay. For beta testing, we estimate that there is a potential of 50,000 beta testers in different age groups and industry sectors over the next 6 months. And as beta testing concludes, we recommend that Dr. Anderson will start raising funds from VC. If beta testing results are positive and if there's a good traction in the market, we believe that Dr. Anderson can use these positive results to leverage that to raise more interest in the VC market.
Our recommendation comes with risks, but we're suggesting strategies to mitigate these risks. Some of the risks associated with the hybrid approach to angel investing is low valuation, equity dilution, and possible shared control over decision-making in the company. To mitigate these risks, we suggest that she seek a limited round of angel investing, negotiate the terms of her control in the decision-making process, and then potentially offer a convertible debt structure that allows her to postpone the valuation of her company to a time when Fixel will really be doing well. And then to seek investors that align with her mission and values.
As for crowdfunding, some of the risks that we identified were that it can be a highly regulated environment. Second is that you get a non-committed investor syndicate. And third is that it's hard to do due diligence on the crowd. But the strategies that we came up with to mitigate these risks are, first, to seek for crowdfunding portals with less regulatory burden. So the equity crowdfunding can be highly regulated, and we suggest doing product crowdfunding through Indiegogo or Kickstarter or community-based crowdfunding. Second is to communicate and engage in investors within the crowd to raise their interest and enthusiasm about the product. And third is to network and prepare for VC round.
Our next steps is we believe in Fixel as a great product and therefore advise her to invest funds to conduct further market research on determining her go-to-market, pricing strategies, and how to distribute. And then we will unleash the transformative power of Fixel in the market.
That is all, and we now leave the floor for Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the question, it is, what is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. Okay. What is the role of leadership character in navigating and eliminating funding barriers for women entrepreneurs?
I think leadership role plays a very important part, especially in women. We tend to second guess ourselves. We base a lot of our projections in business based on our experience. Whereas sometimes we're compared to men when they oversell and overproject. Am I right? Am I right? I'm right, right? Right. See, so. But I think with being a woman in leadership, she has not only the drive to gain potential profit, she has the heart to go with it. So I think of women who are investing in social impact technologies and who are thinking about inclusion and diversity. Those qualities are not inherently present in some men, not all men, some men. And that's what I think that could help overcome some of the funding barriers is if we're going to make an impact, we need to be strong about it as women and say like, yeah, I'm a woman, this is the change I'm making, and that confidence comes from within. If it has to come from someone else, then that's good too. That is good too, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Once the judges are done filling out your scorecards, if you can please return to the judges' briefing room for any final deliberations, and I can give you some instructions in terms of ordering your scorecards for the final tallying. We invite all of our guests to move to our atrium where we have a networking reception set up so that you can enjoy some hors d'oeuvres and opportunity for connection while we complete that scoring process. And then we will reassemble here in the auditorium for our awards ceremony and the announcement of our winners. So we look forward to seeing you back here in just a little bit.
Hello and welcome back. I'll wait till you guys can get seated and everything. Okay, hi. I'll make this real quick, because I know that all you guys want is to hear the winners. I'm Gabby Spriggs. I am one of the student researchers with the Women in Business Impact Lab with UVU, and this is Abby and Olivia. They're also student employees with the lab. First of all, let's give a round of applause for everybody who participated. Even if you did not win, I think you guys are so brave. And my favorite thing is saying you are braver than the Marines themselves for presenting. So I just also want to express our gratitude for UVU and for the Women in Business Lab. I think it's incredible for giving us opportunities like this. And we also want to give a huge round of applause to the incredible women who put it on. So first of all, yeah, give a round of applause. First of all, Krista, thank you so much for letting us dive into you and your life. This is from the students at the Women in Business Impact Lab. And then if we could get Kelly up here and Jessica and Celestia. You guys, I cannot tell you how incredible these three women are. Working with them has been the most amazing thing that could happen to us. So seriously, thank you for all of your hard work. You guys are incredible. None of this would have been possible without these three. So thank you.
Okay, so I did not put them up to that. But that is just a good illustration of how amazing our students are. And I echo everything that Gabby said with respect to how brave all of the participants are who participated in this event, and my appreciation, as I outlined last night at the welcome dinner, of just how many people pulled together to make this happen. People within the UVU community, and then also our external business community. This would not have been possible without you. But of course, now we are ready to celebrate all of the success here. And so what I would like to do is ask for a couple of our student workers to come up to help facilitate the award distribution, as well as Krista, if you can come stand up here as well, as I know that our students would love to get a picture with you as they come up. So we are going to I missed that. I missed something good. Oh. Before we announce the winners for our undergraduate and graduate brackets, we first want to acknowledge our runners up from each bracket as well. So coming out of bracket 1, Joan of Arc, we had Southern Utah University. If you will please come up and get your gifts, and feel free to scoot over and take a picture with Krista if you would like. Bracket Joan of Arc, there was one SUU team, Caitlin and Modell. Sorry. Yes, there's a lot of SUU here, and they're all amazing. Congratulations for performing so well in your bracket. And then our runners up coming out of bracket 2, which was the Zora Neale Hurston, we have SUU, Annalie and Haley. You might as well stay there. You know you're going to all want like another team picture. And for our bracket 3, which was the Mary Wortley Montague, we have BYU, Lindy Brown and Hannah Jensen. And bracket 4, Florence Nightingale, Sarah Jones, and Alyssa Morel. Okay, and now we are going to go ahead and proceed to our finalist tracks. We'll begin with the undergraduate track. And I have to say that, again, all of the teams did so amazing, and even in earlier rounds of the competition, you all did amazing. We did have, of course, a placement emerge from the overall competition, and coming in third place in our undergraduate bracket, Southern University, Cashley and Rebecca. Congratulations. You're like, which camera, right? Okay, and moving on to our second place winners, we have East Tennessee State University, Lexi Vance and Sydney Ice. Congratulations. Now, I know that there's a bunch of really smart people in this room, so I think by now you have figured out our first place, Middle Tennessee State University, Emily and Lilybeth. Congratulations, girls. And now moving on to our graduate track. In second place, we have Brigham Young University, Eunice and Savira. Congratulations. Okay, and now for our first place winners of our graduate track, we have Illinois State University, Jessica and Gracie. Awesome. So congratulations to all of our winners and to all of our competitors. You all did an amazing job over the last couple of days. We've been talking a lot about leader development and leader character, and you all showed up for this competition. And continuing to put yourself out there, this is a great example of what Krista talked about last night, which is showing up. And you certainly did that for this event, and I encourage you to seize other opportunities in the future to continue honing your leadership skills and putting yourself out there. You should all be incredibly proud of yourself. And I hope that this event has delivered on, giving you some of those leadership development opportunities. But as I kind of connecting to last night, we really wanted this to be about connection and making friendships and getting to know people. And so I hope that you've had the opportunity to do that over the last couple days. And thank you again to our event management team who helped make this possible, and of course to Krista, who allowed us to totally pry into her life and her business.
Can we take a selfie? No, the whole group. Okay. So you get right by me. Okay. Wait, hang on. All right. Okay, get right in here. Okay, here we go. All right, we got you all. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I had no idea how impactful this event would be. You're brilliant. You're important. You're valuable. You're going big places. Thank you for all of the hard work, the research, the depth. I learned far more from you than you would have learned from anything you may have been researching on behalf of myself and Fixall. So thank you. Thank you, thank you.
And if we could have, before everyone starts to flock to go get, probably not more food, you've probably been well fed, to go hopefully continue having fun, or to go get some rest, which is on my agenda. Before you leave, we would like to get all of the winners for both the undergraduate and graduate tracks. If you could please come up to this stage one more time so we can get a group photo of you. And we encourage all of the teams to take advantage of our photo backdrop as well. Please feel free to use that before you leave the space here. We look forward to seeing you again next year, and thank you so much for all of your engagement over the last few days.